afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live at 4. It's Friday! You hear that? Everybody is very happy. The weekend is almost here. Charlotte is filling in today. Mark will be back on Christmas Eve. Thanks for your help. You happy it's Friday?
Oh, my goodness. You have no idea.
It's Friday.
I'm sure lots of you out there are very happy as well.
It's Friday. It's sunny. The weekend looks like it's going to be great, unless you're looking for snow, I guess that is.
There are people out there, too, looking for that.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I'm kind of looking for a little bit of snow, but we'll get the forecast from Chris Reese in just a second. But here's what's making news this Friday. Governor Walker signs the lame duck bills and says his legacy is secure. Governor-elect Evers isn't so sure.
And a man charged with sexual assaults of 3 women in downtown Madison reaches a plea agreement.
And questions surrounding the death of a 7-year-old girl who died in the custody of U.S. Border Patrol. That's still to come this hour. But first, let's take a look outside today. Boy, it was sunny and very warm.
It's amazing. I looked at the temperature gauge in the car and it said 36, and I'm like, who knew 36 can feel so good, right?
It's that time of the year where it feels like 80. The weather, not a flake of snow on the ground, and the weather words for today, beautiful weekend ahead. Chris Reese is out on the patio, not even in a jacket, just in a sweater vest. Hi, Chris. Oh, Chris, your mic's not on. Can you hear me?
In my car earlier today just because it was feeling pretty warm. That was a little bit of a struggle this morning, but nonetheless, we've had the warm temperatures around and now more sunshine going into the afternoon as well. The temperature right now, 38 degrees. We did make it into the low 40s for those highs this afternoon as well. 37 as you work your way up towards Wautoma right now. Here's a live look outside. Winds are calm and we are seeing the sun reflecting off the Capitol building there. So still plenty of sunshine to go. Temperatures 12 degrees above where they should have been for this time of the year. We've been above average pretty much all week long. Even our low was about 12 degrees warmer than average. And your forecast first, do expect the clear skies to continue into the evening hours. Temperatures will be falling through the 30s, and then overnight tonight will be mostly clear with lows in the 20s, and yes, some fog could be developing again. I know that was a big problem this morning as well. Let's go ahead and show you guys first alert traffic. Here's a first look, the belt line at Park Street. It is moving along. So far, traffic volume is not a huge issue, but we're already starting to see those backups on the belt line on this Friday evening. As we zoom in towards the Isthmus and downtown, we're seeing a few more brake lights pop up as well. And as you already know, on a Friday, we will certainly be seeing more of those as we go through about the next 40 minutes. In the meantime, pack a little bit of patience as you begin to head home. If you're traveling on the eastbound belt line from University to the interstate, that'll take you a little under half an hour.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. Topping our news today at 4, with just 24 days left in office, Governor Scott Walker says the lame duck bills will not tarnish his legacy. He signed those measures into law today, stripping away powers from the incoming Democratic governor and attorney general.
But Governor-elect Tony Evers says he will do whatever he can to put a stop to it. And Rose Schmidt is here with reaction from both of them. Rose?
That's right. Now, Governor Walker says the bills help maintain transparency and accountability, and is downplaying the idea that they're an attempt by Republicans to strip power from incoming Democrats. Walker signed the bills in their entirety today at an event in Green Bay after hinting he planned to partially veto them. The legislation gives Republicans control over the state's job creation agency and blocks Governor-elect Evers from withdrawing Wisconsin from a lawsuit challenging the Affordable Care Act. The measures restrict early voting to 2 weeks before an election, something Walker says makes it a more fair system for people in smaller cities. People on both sides of the aisle encourage Walker to veto the bills to avoid tarnishing his legacy, but he dismissed those comments today.
These bills don't change that legacy. And these bills don't fundamentally change the power of not just the next governor, but any governor thereafter going forward. They just make sure that we have transparency, accountability, that we always look to protect the taxpayers, and that we have a sense of stability going forward in state government. And that's why I'm pleased to sign all 3 of those into law.
Meanwhile, Governor-elect Evers condemned Walker's actions during a news conference today in Madison. He made personal appeals to Walker, encouraging him to veto those bills. But instead, he says Walker is ignoring the will of the people who elected him.
I know Governor Walker spent a lot of time talking about his legacy over the last couple days, and frankly, he has chosen to make this part of his legacy too. People will remember that he took a stand that was not reflective of this last election.
Evers says the bills were created without accountability and transparency in an attempt to use Walker's words against him. The incoming governor made it clear he's reviewing his options and he will do whatever he can to stop this legislation. Now, a group run by Democratic U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder says it plans to take legal action to block the limitations placed on early voting in Wisconsin. Holder says it is a shameful attack on our democracy. His group and the liberal group One Wisconsin Now sued in federal court in 2016 to overturn a similar restriction on early voting enacted by Walker.
Rose, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Madison police are trying to figure out how a woman was injured on Madison's far west side this morning. They responded to a 911 call to a home in the 6400 block of Pilgrim Road. A woman who was said to be in her 40s was found in the garage with non-life-threatening injuries. She was taken to the hospital, and detectives are trying to determine how the injuries happened.
The man accused in the assaults of 2 women and a teen in downtown Madison in 2017 reaches a plea agreement with prosecutors.
Coleman Chung was charged with attempted abductions and sexual assaults. Eric Franke is in the news center with more details on today's developments. Eric?
That's right, Susan and Charlotte. These were pretty terrifying cases for the victims, and in graphic detail in court today, the prosecutor laid out exactly what happened. Court documents say in one case, Chung chased down his victim, duct taped her mouth, tried to get her in the trunk of his car, and struck her with a hatchet. After earlier pleading not guilty by reason of mental disease, today that plea was changed as Chung pleaded guilty to 5 of the 10 charges he was facing.
The state and defense will make a joint recommendation for a global 22.5 years of initial confinement and the maximum amount of extended supervision in this matter.
And that's 15 years of extended supervision for a Class C felony. Judge Ellen Burrs ordering a pre-sentence investigation. Now, the actual sentencing in this case will actually take place in about 2 months. That global plea agreement, what that essentially means is they're combining 10 different charges in 2 different cases, combining it into one. And if the judge agrees to that 22.5 years, the now 31-year-old Coleman will be in prison until he's in his 50s. Susan, Charlotte?
Eric Franke in the newsroom. Eric, thank you.
You're welcome.
The Trump administration is facing new questions after a 7-year-old migrant girl died while in U.S. Border Patrol custody. Homeland Security officials confirmed the 7-year-old Guatemalan girl went into sepsis shock and died after receiving emergency treatment from U.S. Border Patrol. Her father says she had not been able to consume water or food for days.
It's heart-wrenching is what it is, and my heart goes out to the family. What happened here was they were about 90 miles away from where we could process them. They came in such a large crowd that it took our Border Patrol folks a couple times to get them all.
Officials say she and her father were traveling with a large group of migrants last week when border agents took them into custody at the New Mexico border. By the time emergency crews arrived, the young girl's temperature was 105 degrees. She was airlifted to a children's hospital in El Paso, Texas, where she died.
President Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, is speaking out after receiving a 3-year prison sentence. Mola Lenghi has more from the White House.
I gave loyalty to someone.
In an interview with ABC News, President Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, says Mr. Trump asked him to buy the silence of porn star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal.
He directed me to make the payments. He directed me to become involved in these matters.
CBS News sources confirm the president was in the room when Cohen and National Enquirer publisher David Pecker discussed paying hush money to the women in August of 2015. Collectively, Cohen paid them $280,000, which could be a campaign finance violation.
You have to remember at what point in time that this matter came about, 2 weeks or so before the election, post the Billy Bush comments. So yes, he was very concerned about how this would affect the election.
Wednesday, Cohen was sentenced to serve 3 years in federal prison for lying to Congress, tax evasion, and campaign finance violations. The president's statements on the payments have changed. In April, he said he was unaware of them.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
More recently, the president has called the payments a, quote, simple private transaction. He says the only thing he did wrong was to trust a bad attorney.
Whatever he did on his own. He's a lawyer. A lawyer who represents a client is supposed to do the right thing. That's why you pay them a lot of money.
Raids of Cohen's properties have also led to a criminal investigation into President Trump's inauguration spending. Federal prosecutors want to know if some of the international donors gave money in return for access to the president. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, the White House.
The inauguration committee says donors were vetted in accordance with the law.
Police in the Netherlands are investigating the murder of an American college student. Dutch police were called to this apartment building after neighbors heard arguing and screaming. Officers found 21-year-old Sarah Pappenheim in a pool of blood. The Minnesota native was stabbed to death at her home Wednesday, not far from the university where she was studying. The prime suspect is her roommate, a 23-year-old Dutch man. Police arrested him at a train station attempting to flee the city.
Like a lot of sadness, but also a lot of fear in case like something like this might happen again.
Pappenheim was studying psychology at Erasmus University in Rotterdam. She reportedly chose the major after her brother committed suicide 3 years ago. Her mother told a Minnesota newspaper, "My only 2 kids, and I've lost them both." Pappenheim's mom said her daughter had been arguing with her roommate for weeks, but she didn't know how tense things had become. Coming up, new rules for professional women tennis players, and it would have helped Serena Williams, who created a stir at the French Open with her black cat suit.
Also, why holiday shopping and focusing on someone other than yourself can make you a more content person. Christine Whalen will explain when Live at 4 continues. There are some changes coming for professional women tennis players.
The Women's Tennis Association says players returning from maternity leave or injury will no longer lose their ranking. That new protection would have helped Serena Williams, who gave birth last year and lost her #1 ranking. The WTA will also allow players to wear leggings and mid-thigh length compression shorts with or without a skirt, shorts, or a dress. Williams caused a stir when she sported a black catsuit at the French Open.
A steep loss on Wall Street today with new concerns about slowing growth in China, as well as growing disarray surrounding plans for Britain to exit the European Union. The Dow dropped nearly 427 points, the Nasdaq 159, and the S&P 500 dropped 50 points. That is the S&P's lowest level since April.
If you are shopping this holiday season with others in mind, psychologists say it might make you happier.
And being a conscious consumer can lift your spirits even more. Christine Whelan is a professor in the School of Human Ecology at UW-Madison. Hi, Christine. Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
So what are we talking about? What does it mean to be a conscious consumer?
So a conscious consumer means somebody who is thinking not just about getting the best price deal, but whether what you're shopping for is in keeping with your values. Does the company make the product? Does the company treat its employees in keeping with a way that you would like to see products made? It also means, like, perhaps only shopping at places that maybe don't stay open all the time, that allow their employees to go home and enjoy the holidays as well. So it means thinking about something other than just the easiest and fastest way, which I gotta tell you, as a mom who's trying to shop and juggle everything, is kind of like a big ask this holiday season. So when I talk about conscious consumerism, I also think about how to be conscious yourself as you shop. And this brings me to my favorite concept that is so totally misunderstood by people, and it's the concept of thrift. You know this word, right?
We've heard it a lot.
We've heard it a lot, but we think it means like not spending money. Right? We think it means being stingy or only shopping at, at cheap places, right? But thrift actually is defined as the right use of resources to help our thriving and the thriving of others around us. And it's not just resources of money. It's resources of time. So for all of us who are like kind of pulling our hair out, saying like, are we going to be able to get this deal and are we going to be able to get it in time under the tree? How are we going to do all of this? Your time and your sanity is something you want to be thrifty about as well.
Very much so, yeah.
So how could you give us an example then of what to do?
So first of all, I would suggest something that I'm going to do myself. I am setting a cutoff date after which there is no more shopping, after which I'm not going to worry about it anymore. The holidays will be what they will be, and I'm going to focus on being together with others rather than like, does everybody have 6 gifts under the tree?
Okay.
In addition, when you're shopping, think about how you want to really take ownership of your money for doing some good on its own, right? Because consumers are hugely powerful. We really do vote with our pocketbooks. And so if we prioritize one brand over another, that's going to make a difference on a national and potentially international level. You have the power.
So talk about this concept of you're shopping with others in mind, it makes you happy.
It does. There's this great research on pro-social spending. All right, so that means spending on other people or thinking about others as you're spending. And pro-social behavior is linked to happiness all across the board. It's linked to better well-being and just a better sense of like that you're not just doing well for yourself, but that you're doing good by doing well, which is really what we all kind of want, right? So it's like spreading the holiday cheer, not just to your immediate family and loved ones, but can you do it on a big picture level as well?
Oh, yeah. So how do you choose brands that you want to support? I mean, if you don't, obviously there are probably things off the top of your head that you want to support, but how do you make that conscious decision?
I just did a Google search this afternoon for like best, most conscious consumer brands out there, and all sorts of wonderful lists comes up. Like you see, for example, Tom's, where when you buy one pair of shoes, they give a pair of shoes to someone who needs it. There are many, many fashion brands along those lines. But then there are also stores like REI. They close their doors around some of these big shopping days because they say, listen, these are also big family days as well. Patagonia does some good work in terms of suggesting that you recycle and not buy a new outfit, but that they'll fix one of those jackets for you. You know, really, a simple Google search can make you also feel good about the brands that you also buy and want to buy as well. Yeah. You know, it's not about just saying I can't buy what I want because it's not meeting a particular social need. But look around and see if you can do both. Get what you want and what's good for the larger world as well.
I've been trying to get into the habit of using Smile Amazon because then a portion of my purchase will go to a nonprofit of my choosing.
Oh, I love that.
So that's another, it's a win-win.
It is. It absolutely is. I've used that for years. I love that part because then you don't even have to think about it. You buy what you want and you're shopping for good.
And the cutoff day for shopping, that's a great suggestion.
Yes, get out there. Instead of like always trying to be online, get out there and go for a walk instead.
All right, Christine, thank you.
Great to see you. Happy holidays.
You too. Happy holidays.
We'll be right back. Take a look at this. A professional driver races the fastest animal on the planet, a peregrine falcon. It takes place on a closed course in Saudi Arabia. The falcon immediately sees the lure attached to the back of the car that tops out at close to 180 miles an hour and is on its tail in seconds. The falcon can reach speeds up to 200 miles per hour in a full-on dive. The driver zigzags on the road to throw the falcon off, making it hard to grab the lure, flapping in the wind, and ends up winning the challenge.
That is amazing.
Do not try that at home.
Even the video is amazing.
That is
Wow.
amazing.
Incredible.
Today is December 14th, and we are celebrating National Monkey Day. And while it is mainly about monkeys, it also celebrates other non-human primates such as apes, tarsiers, and lemurs.
The state of Alabama gets recognized on this National Alabama Day. It was the 22nd state to join the union.
And seafood lovers everywhere have reason to celebrate every December 14th with National Bouillabaisse Day. It is a fish stew traditionally made using bony rockfish, saffron, fennel seed, and orange zest.
That looks great.
Where's the prop?
Yeah,
Where are
That
people?
one sounds good.
It does sound
Whenever
good.
we have guests, we never have props. Sorry, you guys.
That's
We
unfortunate.
lucked out.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what does also sound good is your forecast for the weekend. We're looking at plenty of sunshine, but a lot of folks want to know if we'll see snow by Christmas, and we'll continue to answer that question coming up.
Is that a live sunset picture?
That sure is.
That's very pretty.
Well, it was another day in our week of temperatures that were above average. Temperatures this afternoon topped out 12 degrees warmer than we typically are for this time of the year. Our high was 42. We should be at 30, starting out at 28 when we should have started in the mid-teens. Might I add, that sunset looks pretty spectacular. Please take plenty of pictures and send those in. Temperatures right now, or for the highs today, we're certainly in the low 40s in Madison, 35 as you work your way over towards Watertown. Janesville made it up to 37. The fog lasting a little bit longer kept Janesville just a little bit cooler. We made it to 40 in Monroe, 43 as you work your way up towards Mineral Point. And 40s were essentially common for a lot of folks. Now, as you got farther towards the north and west, this is where the snowpack was, so things were a little bit cooler, 34 in Marshfield, 34 for Austin, Minnesota. But without the snowpack, you really were warm. You got farther to the north and west, and parts of northern Minnesota made it into the 40s. Temperatures now are coming down. We're back down to 33 in Marshfield, 38 in Milwaukee, same in Madison at 38 degrees right now. Winds are calm, though, so we haven't really seen much in the way of wind all day. That means we've had no wind chill at all day as well, and that's what really kind of helped the fog and haze stick around just about all day. But temperatures still just slightly warmer than they were this time yesterday, a little bit cooler towards the south and east. But really, again, since the weekend, we have just seen a stretch of temperatures that have been above normal for this time of the year, and it's likely that we will see that for the next week or so. So whereas November was cold, December certainly flipping the switch on that one. In addition to the warm temperatures, nothing really going on in terms of rain or snow. We've had plenty of sunshine today with high pressure staying in control. There has been a lot of rain down across the southern states. This upper level low has just been spinning, and it's detached from the jet stream, so it has nowhere to go. So as we go through the weekend, we're going to watch this spin in place, bringing rain to the deep south just about all weekend long. That could lead to some localized flooding for them. But that regional low pressure staying to the south thanks to high pressure in control. That high pressure is going to keep the sunshine around for Saturday and even most of Sunday. A weak cold front comes through on Sunday, only to be replaced with more high pressure. That means the sunshine is going to continue. Let's go ahead and show you how temperatures respond to this. We'll see those lows in the low 20s tonight. Tomorrow, those temperatures will be in the upper 30s and low 40s once again. As we head into your Sunday, pay attention to early Sunday morning. We're going to see those winds coming out of the south and west only before that cold front comes through, and then we see those winds coming out of the north and west into the afternoon. In fact, by Monday, temperatures will be noticeably cooler, back into the low 30s after seeing a weekend in the 40s. But nonetheless, we're staying above average until we get you into the days leading up to Christmas. That's when the next shot of colder air will move into the picture. Of course, we've been seeing this warm pattern since the weekend. That colder air has been bottled up over Canada. But here we are right on the 20th. You see that dive of colder air coming in, and then as we go towards Christmas, the next core of colder air comes in. Now, the worst of that will likely be to our north and east. But when you have colder air diving into the picture, oftentimes you do have a storm system that develops with it, whether that's weak or strong. And that's why we are giving you at least a 20% chance of a white Christmas. It doesn't look like we're going to get anything major around here, but around December 23rd and into the 24th, there are chances at least for some light snow here in the area. But the reality is, as we head towards Christmas Eve, it really does look like we're going to be below normal and fairly dry in terms of precipitation across much of the country, including right here in central Wisconsin. I know a lot of folks like snow around Christmas. It's just not the year, it seems. Tonight, 22 degrees, mostly clear, some patchy fog may be developing by morning. Tomorrow, we'll see those highs in the low 40s again. Plenty of sunshine as well. So it's the pick day of the weekend to get outdoors if you are certainly looking to do that. More 40s as we head into Sunday. A cold front comes into the picture Sunday afternoon and evening, but no rain is associated with that. Maybe some cloud cover, but more sunshine to start next week. And that truly lasts through the weekend. We might see some chances of overnight flurries here or there, but the only real chance for precipitation is that snow chance on Sunday. So it's going to be a pretty dry week and some change.
Yeah, this makes me nervous because if we're not getting anything in the beginning, I feel like it's all going to come.
Right. You know, I hear that happened last year.
We were talking about this at noon today, that we were in a similar situation last year, and then we paid for it in January. So
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's hope you're not right, Charlotte.
No.
I'll dance outside if I have to get it to snow. All right.
Keep dancing, Charlotte.
Thank you. Well, Chris will keep us up to date Saturday and Sunday morning on News 3.
And then stay tuned for CBS Sunday Morning. We checked in earlier today with Sunday Morning contributor David Pogue. He's filling in this weekend for Jane Pauley. Hi, David. Tell us a little bit about your program this Sunday. I understand you're looking into the demise of what was at one time one of the giants of the retail world.
Indeed. It used to be the biggest store in the world, Sears Roebuck. Now, after a 125-year run, they are in bankruptcy, sort of limping through the holiday season with just a few stores left. It's kind of heartbreaking, especially for the longtime employees like Bobby Jones.
This is a Kenmore dishwasher, microwave oven. This table and chairs and the china cabinet came from Sears. From my very first memory as a child, the Sears catalog was there in our house. The majority of the clothes, shoes was ordered from Sears. My mother even ordered her fruitcake each Christmas from Sears.
Yeah, it's going to be a blue Christmas for those Sears employees.
Oh, yeah, and it's certainly the end of an era as well. We're looking forward to that story. And tell us a little bit about your interview with Michael Bublé.
Yeah, a little bit more cheery, this story. Our Tracy Smith profiled Michael Bublé, who's not only an amazing singer, but turns out he's kind of a modest guy and also pretty good at math.
I think the business that I'm in is 10% talent and, 40% hard work and 50% luck.
You really think most of it is luck?
Oh my God.
Really?
Yes.
You kind of have a nice set of pipes, too.
So does everyone on American Idol.
I think this guy would do just fine on American Idol.
I think a little bit more than 10% talent there. David,
just a smidge.
Yeah, David, great to see you, and we will see you Sunday for Sunday Morning.
Thank you so much.
And Sunday Morning airs at 8 o'clock on Sunday right here on WISC-TV. When we come back, there's more at 4. Are you worried about the weight of your child's backpack?
Well, apparently you should be.
A new study looks at the impact a heavy backpack can have on your back. I'm Tom Hansen with what you need to know to carry your load safely.
Wow, look at that. That's a live look from Platteville of the sun setting on this Friday afternoon. That could be Mark in Antigua or wherever he
yeah,
is.
not quite.
Yeah, beautiful
We gotta
though.
pretend.
Well, here's a question for you. How heavy is your child's backpack?
Well, a new study shows the effects of all those books could have on your child's back. And Tom Hansen reports from New York.
It's really heavy.
14-year-old Lucy Chant carries about 20 pounds of school supplies in her backpack every day.
And my computer.
Adding to the load, textbooks, snacks, and after-school soccer clothes.
Feels more like 40 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you're tired, walking from class to class, it's a lot.
Lucy isn't unusual, and a new study shows all that weight can take its toll on the back.
The forces are tremendous.
Dr. Ken Hansraj co-authored a study that measured how wearing a backpack impacts the spine.
If you carry, for example, 10 pounds in your backpack, then the forces on the spine is 70 pounds of force. And so then if you're struggling uphill 20 degrees, then the forces become 120 pounds of force.
Dr. Hansraj says carrying too heavy a load puts children and teens at risk for long-term health problems because they're stressing areas of the spine and core that are still growing. He recommends young kids carry no more than the equivalent of 10% of their body weight. That amounts to 5 pounds for a 50-pound 6-year-old. For a 150-pound teenager, the recommendation increases to 23 pounds. And for a 200-pound adult, 40 pounds. Using both straps, keeping them tight, and practicing good posture can also reduce pressure on the spine.
Good posture is your ears above your shoulder and your angel wings back.
Lucy makes sure she carries her backpack the right way.
It's not normal at first, kind of. Once you put in the time and stuff, you definitely feel a difference.
She says now she's trying to convince her friends to do the same. Tom Hansen for WISC News 3.
Researchers say you should tell your kids to listen to their body. If you start to ache, you're carrying too heavy of a load.
It's kind of a hard lesson to learn for
It
kids,
is.
but it's a good idea. When we come back, we'll go backstage with Michael Bruno.
Michael is headed to the Dells for the production of Holly Jolly Christmas.
Those backups on the Beltline continuing to increase as we head through your Friday afternoon. Here's the Beltline at Park Street. Several lights as you head back into the westerly direction there. And right now we are finding the heaviest traffic to be between Verona Road and John Nolan in either direction right now. Speeds anywhere between 20 miles per hour and about 35 miles per hour. We're also seeing more brake lights as you head on West Johnson in the easterly direction. Some additional brake lights on Regent Street and Monroe right now. But otherwise, Dane County looking not too shabby as a whole outside of Madison. We cut things down to Janesville, and for the most part, traffic is moving smoothly, but there are a few patches of brake lights showing up as of now. Guys.
Thank you very much, Chris. The sounds of the season are filling the airwaves and the malls.
But there is nothing like a live performance to get you in the spirit. Michael Bruno headed up to Wisconsin Dells to go backstage at the Palace Theater's presentation of A Holly Jolly Christmas.
I think there's just enough swing left for one more trip over the river. So let's swing those jingle bells.
Mr. and Mrs. Claus are the hosts of Holly Jolly Christmas, and we begin by going all over the world, celebrating Christmas in different countries, actually in Santa's Magic Sleigh, which welcome to, by the way.
And then we go to a sort of a home scene where it's a little more intimate, dealing with the family situation.
Christmas memories, and of course Santa comes down the chimney and brings toys, and a toy or two comes to life.
Holly Jolly Christmas is a Christmas review type of show, so we do a lot of different segments throughout the show. We'll start with a very classic like Radio City's-esque number.
Then the second act begins with Chris and Connie Krinkle's Cavalcade of Christmas, which is a very fun throwback to the 70s variety shows, and has kind of a 40s swing to it. Some 50s tunes that folks will remember.
Some of them are revamped to be a little more pop or R&B. It's a really cool segment ending with a really beautiful sign language version of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And then we have a nice little reindeer tap number.
And they go into a nativity scene where they have carols and finish up with sort of a more cheerful finale.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. What fun it is to ride along.
It's definitely a show for the whole family. We've had so many grown-ups, grown-up children, if you will, say how much they loved the show, and they weren't in the Christmas spirit until they saw Holly Jolly Christmas. So that's one of the finest compliments we could get.
For a ride in my sled. Hey, hey!
That looks fantastic. Wow. Michael.
It's Christmas with dance.
So are these professional
They are
performers?
professionals, yeah. They are all professional, and they're wonderful. It's such a great show. It's like an old-fashioned variety show like you'd watch on television back in, like, the 50s and 60s. It's so wonderful.
And these performers, they're from all over.
They are from all. Most of them from like New York and Chicago. There are a couple Midwestern kids in there, but they're really a talented group of people.
Singing, dancing, a nativity scene, the works.
It's
right?
everything you can think of. If there's a swing era, they do jitterbugging, they do like a nativity scene, they do skits, there's songs, there's dances. It's really fun for the whole family.
So that is great.
Very entertaining.
Incredibly
you will
entertaining.
Not be bored.
Yeah, no, you will not be bored. Absolutely not. It's really, really fun. Really well done.
Get you in the spirit. The Holly Jolly Christmas at the Palace Theater in the Dells runs through December 29th. For more information, go to dells.com. palace.com.
And quickly, we've got cookies.
That's right. It's International Coochie Daddy Day, which you didn't get.
Which means it's little bracelets.
Little
We looked it up.
bracelets. That's very good. Yes, that's Mama B's special recipe that she used to make every Christmas. And this year, my husband Jim and Nurse Connie, aka Paul, and I made some Coochie Daddies for you this year.
Oh, thank you. It's so kind of you to bring me a plate.
Yeah, it's called Sharing is Caring.
Yes, do something good and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Next week we'll be at Children's Theater of Madison's A Christmas Carol.
Oh, big Madison tradition.
Thank you.
All right,
You're
Michael,
welcome.
thanks. We'll see you next
You're
weekend.
welcome.
We'll be right back.
I want a coochie.
Chris is back with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we'll continue to see clear skies as we go through the overnight hours. Temperatures will fall into the low 20s. More sunshine tomorrow. Get this, expect those temperatures to be in the low 40s once again for your Saturday. So ultimately, it'll be a very, very beautiful weekend.
All right, looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm eating my coochie daddies here.
It's all good.
I'll save you some time here.
I will.
Monday on Live at 4, a preview of an HBO documentary, Bleed Out, that looks at problems in the healthcare industry. It's a personal story from a Wisconsin director.
And film critic Will Loper will be here to check out the new Clint Eastwood movie, The Mule. That's coming up Monday on Live at 4.
Trent from Charlotte can be here. I'm not on for a couple minutes.
So here we go. I
Nice
got one more
preview
line.
there.
One more line. You can kick me off. Mark is on vacation, but that doesn't stop Lola and Louie. They have been hard at work finding the best animal stories of the week.
Here's this week's edition of Lola's Lowdown. This week on the Lowdown, we have penguins on parade.
Retired elephants are soothed with classical music.
And Scooby the camel becomes a celebrity with his daily walk.
But first, we welcome Kabu into the world. This baby orangutan is the first orangutan birth at this Cologne Zoo in more than 4 years. Her mother is taking very good care of her daughter, and Kabu's half-sister, 6-year-old Cinta, is happy about her new playmate. And her birth is welcome news. Orangutans are on the verge of extinction in their original homelands of Sumatra and Borneo.
Meet Scooby the camel. He's over 7 feet tall and is hard to miss when he goes on his daily walks with his owner along the roads around Toledo, Ohio. Apparently, the 2-year-old gets his feelings hurt if they don't have their daily conversations or their time together.
But when he gets frustrated or antsy, he actually does, I call it his little Scooby shimmy. He'll actually hop back and forth. He is the star, that is for sure. He is Alpha Camel.
Scooby's owner said his dream was to